We've got our first guest of the night. We've got Aurora from Peace Action Otautahi, as well as the group whose name I've forgotten, so I'm going to let her introduce it. Welcome to the show, Aurora Garner-Randolph. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Student Justice for Palestine member, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you, do you run the Peace Action Otautahi page, or are you just
run by a bunch of different activists in Otautahi? Yeah.
Perfect. So you, or the page, broke the news or updated recently that UC Security assaulted students who were protesting on the, I believe it was yesterday, at the protest yesterday. You were there, I believe, and do you want to give us a first-hand account of what went on?
Yeah, absolutely. So a bit of background context is that Student Justice for Palestine has been operating at the University of Canterbury for a bit over a year now. And we had an encampment this time last year because the university was super not transparent about their investments. We didn't know whether they had investments in armaments, which is, weapons. It's more kind of civil aviation stuff, but it's also those really nasty investments around kind of weaponry and bombs and things of that nature. And at the time of the encampment, we were assured by the university, they were like to us, that we do not invest in armaments. They held up their policy. They were like, look, we do not invest in armaments. And from that, we agreed to kind of go the bureaucracy route with them. We're like, okay, we'll play by your rules and we'll deal with you kind of on your terms. And so for a year, we've been going through the bureaucracy route of it. We went through the academic council, we went through the university council, back out to management, back through the university council. They produced a report on where their investments lie. It took us, I think, 4 months to get our hands on that report, even though it should have been publicly available. We finally received it, and it says basically that they've been lying to us and that there were investments in armaments by the University of Canterbury. And they kind of deliberately put the numbers so that it showed the percentage, which looked quite low. But when you do the maths, that turns out to be around $330,000 in armaments, as well as I think around $150,000 in Israeli cybersecurity firms, which are really nefarious as well. Obviously, those are the kind of firms that are conducting surveillance and kind of on Palestinians in occupied Palestine. So yeah, absolutely unconscionable investments for a university that prides itself on kind of being progressive or kind of being supportive to have. And so we were just absolutely disgusted to see that not only the university had lied to us, but they had not insignificant amounts of money invested in weaponry, essentially. And so we held a protest. And what we were attempting to do is we wanted to go into the first floor, which is open to all students, of the administrative building, and we wanted to speak to the vice chancellor. We'd emailed her previously. She wasn't responding to our emails. And so a group of us were, willing to protest on the first floor. And as we approached the doors, the security guards were incredibly physically violent. I think you can see some of those clips in the Instagram post that we posted.
Yeah, I'll just pop them on the screen for you.
Yeah. We had people just being thrown to the ground, people being grabbed by their necks. One of my friends had blood drawn from his face because the security guard grabbed his face so hard that he scratched him and drew blood. And one protester had her arm broken by a security guard. Yeah, I think that footage just shows the intimidation that was going on.
Oh, yeah, they're so aggressive.
Yeah. Has anyone spoken, or has UC spoken out against the actions of the security guards, or have they said anything to you guys, apologize or anything?
No apologies yet. The vice chancellor didn't come to speak with us. They basically just removed us from the building, refused to speak to us. The student association has not been helpful at all, has not come out in support of student safety. And it's just shocking that the security guards, private citizens think that they can just assault students of the university for what was a peaceful protest, what was going into an area available to students to talk to a member of faculty who's responsible for investing tuition fees, investing vast sums of money, who controls our education. We strongly feel that we'd had the right to speak to her regarding those investments. Yeah, just really depressing.
Well, yeah, and I
Yeah,
mean,
for sure.
as someone who's obviously just recently, about to graduate, students have a student levy. A lot of that money goes towards the services such as security. So this is just horrible that you guys are paying for this and then getting treated so terribly. Because I think when I saw this video that just shocked me was just that it was very aggressive and very manhandly, and that's just I could understand if they were trying to move people, but there is a big difference between trying to just calmly kind of bring a situation down rather than what feels like was they were escalating the situation.
It was absolutely escalation, and it's a continuation of intimidation that we've seen from the security at UC. Remember last year at the encampments, we were all just very peacefully kind of going about our business, just going to sleep at night. And there was this, there was a kind of a balcony that was overhanging where we were encamping. And there's this one security guard, the entire night, she had her TikTok turned up to full volume and was just blasting reels at us all night. Which is petty, but I think it just kind of showed the attitude that they were taking towards us. But obviously, way worse to have, your arm broken and to be kind of choked out on the ground by these officers.
Yeah, I think that the broken arm, is there, how, do you know how the person who broke their arm is, doing, I think other people have also wondered if there's been, police complaints made, especially, I imagine, the person with the broken arm.
Yeah, they're doing well. I think they're considering their options around legal action. But yeah, I mean, I'd be very surprised if a police complaint got anywhere, considering the police are usually the ones doing physical violence on pro-Palestine protesters in our experience. But yeah, there's definitely going to be a lot of complaints to the university about that, how that was handled.
I guess it's still early days with that stuff.
This is I don't believe it's the first process for this particular issue on campus. Am I not? Yes, correct. There has been.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had a lot of rallies over the past year, and so, and we've also we had an encampment where we stayed overnight, which was we felt was productive because from that we got assurances that there were no armament investments, but that turned out to just not be true.
But nothing has escalated to this sort of scale before that you're aware of? This is kind of the first?
Well, I mean, at the previous protest, we were told that if we didn't vacate, basically the implication from the university was that they were going to set the police on us. That they were just going to, they said, oh, well, the police will come in and we can't control what they do. Which was really terrifying to hear, actually, given how willing the police here are to use violence on progressive activists. But yeah, for Student Justice for Palestine on-campus stuff, I think this is the worst we've seen, where students are getting their bones broken for peaceful activism.
Yeah, which is just it's crazy. It's I don't know what to say about this. It's just kind of disgusting, really. Is there anything that you want UC to know? I'm sure this will get out to them, or someone might share it with them. Is there anything you want to ask them to do about this, or anything? Have I frozen? No. Just no. No. Aurora's frozen. Oh no.
Maybe Aurora has frozen. Oh no.
No.
The security guards got her Wi-Fi.
No. No.
I mean,
No.
while we're waiting, I see there's quite a
Was
few
there?
comments. We've got a comment here from
Oh yeah.
KiwiBird for $2. Just I've done security and the guards abuse their power. Like, and I've seen this kind of sentiment echoed by a few people already in the chat that like I think we've all seen a bit of a, you know, what did they call it in this in the article on stuff? A melee
Yeah,
between security.
I saw melee, and I'm like, okay, that's not what I'd say, but yeah. We've
Yeah.
lost Aurora, but they might come back, so we'll
Yes.
we'll give it a second. Was there any other questions that we could pass on if they come back? I think I saw the odd one.
No, but I mean, Rogers brought up a point that actually I didn't even get far enough to thinking
Yeah.
about that whole citizen's arrest thing. Like, seeing security guards be bold enough to act like that does make you kind of a bit worried that, like, yeah, it's just it feels so aggressive in a way that is violent, not even like trying to be any form of restraint or intercepting to try and de-escalate a situation. It's just really disappointing. I mean, especially in a university setting, like universities, there's like in our universities, there's this idea entrenched that they can act as critic and conscious of society. So like it is a very fair stance to kind of question that of like if you're supposed to be the conscious and like critic of society, then maybe you shouldn't be investing student money into armaments that are helping with genocide. Like that is a very valid thing to want to request when that is partly your money, like students' money goes into, you know, all sectors of university. Sure, it's not obviously the majority of the money, but there's still student money being spent where it shouldn't be, and they should be allowed to kind of push back on that.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's just in time.
Yay!
Aurora.
Kia ora, so sorry about that.
Hey, it's okay.
It's completely cut out. I had to go and do a bit of tech repair.
That's all right.
Sweet.
We're saying that the UC got to you. They cut you off.
Yeah, security took your Wi-Fi. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was just kind of saying a little bit as like, you know, the fact that university is supposed to be the critic and conscious of society. It's a very fair thing to critique them for then investing, you know, student and other people's money into things like armaments and genocide, which, you know, is not exactly a fun conversation to have to begin with.
Yeah, and UC has in previous years and previous decades been a real hub of like radical student action. Back during the fees increases, I think in the 90s, there was students fully occupied the entire administrative building, like for quite some time, like overnight, and fully like held out against administration in protesting kind of that neoliberal agenda of hiking student fees and the treating educational institutes not as a place for learning but as a place for profit, protesting against that. But since then there's been this really depressing attitude shift where you know, these educational institutions are being treated just for profit, and universities can supposedly invest in whatever they like. Students aren't allowed to question how their institution functions, and I think that's totally wrong. That's totally unjust.
Oh yeah, especially when that same institution is trying to teach you critical thinking, and then you said critical thinking, and they go, "Oh no, not like that. Don't do it like that."
Don't be critical of us. Don't think too much about us.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, my friend was making the point at the protest that in so many of those classes that you have to take, they give you a special paper or an assignment on ethics within engineering, ethics within medical field, ethics within everything. And yeah, that's absolutely right. But the moment you want to apply that to the actual world that you live in, when it actually reflects badly on them, they don't want to hear your criticism.
Yeah. Is there anything beyond what you've? I feel like you've spoken to them directly already, but is there anything that you wanted to ask UC or in regards to this particular incident, or get across to them about what's happened?
Just that security and the university as a whole obviously should get on with the bloomin' divestment. Like, not that much of their money is invested in armaments. It's sure $300,000 is quite a lot of money in some ways, but it's a tiny part of their portfolio. It's an afternoon's work to shift those funds around, make those phone calls and get it happening. It doesn't take a year, and them stalling on it so hard, meaning to the point that students have to kind of put their safety and even their ability to finish their degrees on the line. Because when you're doing protests like that and security comes down on you that harshly, people are risking their kind of education and their safety because they feel so strongly that that it's not right what the university's doing. So they just need to get on with it, and like, promise will stop if you just divest, essentially.
And I mean, I think stuff put on in their article was something tiny, like 0.03%. Like, it's a weird hill to die on. Like, do you really want to die on that hill? Yeah.
0.23%, around 333,000 of its UCTF fund in armaments. There you go.
Exactly. Like she says, it's not hard to just go, you know what? That's not that much. Let's put it somewhere else. Maybe, I don't know, even ask the students maybe where they want that money to go. Like, that would be awesome.
That would, yeah.
Yeah, better things that we could be investing in.
Absolutely.
No, thank you. Thanks for coming on and having a chat to us about this. It's good to shed some light on it. I think Magenta's only managed to find one article, and that was just the stuff article. And I'm glad that the Instagram post got some traction as well, so that we could reach out to you and hear from you. But really appreciate that. Is there anything that obviously we hit off?
Yeah, I'd like to do the customary plug. If people want to learn more about what Student Justice for Palestine's doing, they should follow sjp.canterbury on Instagram, because this pressure campaign is not going to finish until we see divestment. So there's much more to be seen. And if people want to see radical youth activism in Ōtautahi more generally, they should follow Peace Action Ōtautahi. So that's peace.action.ōtautahi on Instagram, because there's some amazing campaigning going on that platform against police brutality and against weapons manufacturer operating in Christchurch.
Yes, I did see that in the link tree as well, which was very fascinating to have a read up on. Yeah, wonderful. Well, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll keep an eye and see if there's any updates around this particular issue. But it's fingers crossed we see some action from UC on this particular one, and you guys get some justice on anything that's happened. I hope the person whose arm was broken is recovering.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, and have a good rest of your night. Kia ora.